license and registration, he consents your acquisition.
On the head of the fallen
Remind me that
angel.
this is a team effort. Remind me to keep going.
Time, my shirt.
Did you know that your hands came with a ripple effect?
We got the same dreams. I mean, blood, sweat, and tears win by any means poetry.
Sway, look at me. Is a piece of the pie too good for me?
Some may call it rock the mic. We call it poetry.
Hello, and welcome to Sojourn with Words. I'm so glad you could join us today. My name is Sistah Joy, and we are excited here at CTV to have one of the fabulous poetry ensembles with us, and they are making a buzz throughout the region. I'm speaking of the Right Blend. Now, some may have already heard of them because they are truly getting about quite a bit, of course, virtually these days. But let's talk a little bit about the Right Blend. Just who is the Right Blend? As an ensemble, they are based in Prince George's County. The founder of the Right Blend Poetry Circle is visual artist and poet Diane Wilbon Parks. She has published 2 poetry collections and has read widely as a featured poet on radio and been the subject of interviews, the poet in the poem at the Library of Congress with Maryland State Poet Laureate Grace Cavallari. And she actually has a permanent installation of one of her poems at the Patuxent Research Refuge. Of course, she resides right here in Prince George's County. Diane, welcome to Sojourn with Words.
Hi, Sistah Joy. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Why don't we let our audience hear a bit of poetry by Diane Wilbon Parks, founder of the Right Blend Poetry Circle?
From the book, The Right Blend, I have a poem entitled Shared Journey. I will read that for you. Nothing that I do will bruise you, not even the white sheets that holds the ink of your ancestors and mine, not the pillow that's written of your dreams, or the hem that refuses to stay put. One string spins into earth and unravels, then restitch itself into colorful things. Every fabric, every door, every smile, every laughter that's unfamiliar to it, it connects to. It knits itself until it becomes a part of you, a part of me, and becomes woven into the fabric of our journey. The spoon that I give to feed is for you. Nothing that I give will bruise you. So I wish you in. How tiny we are to think that our souls stand still and alone, like pages in an unread book. To think that we do not touch the dreams of others, that we do not lend our stories, our pages to fit in the frames, that we do not pour our light into their darkness. We are threads shaken loose, blown into, floating on, gathered inside. You are my string. We engage, expose, exchange, introduce, impart, interact into and out of one another like woven silk and fabric. And like all of you, I stand waist deep in your lessons. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. That was Diane Wilbon Parks, founder of the Right Blend. And now that you've heard a little bit about the founder, let's just rewind and hear a little bit about the group itself. It is a unique, culturally diverse poetry ensemble of 6 poets whose poetry is published in a new collection of poems titled, oddly enough, The Right Blend. And of course, the poetry ensemble has recently been featured on Poets versus Pandemics, sponsored by Cafe Muse and WordWorks organizations. The Right Blend has read, as I mentioned earlier, with the Library of Congress under the Maryland State Poet Laureate Grace Cavallari with her series, The Poet and the Poem. And of course, they performed at many Black History events such as the Black History Poetry Festival, sponsored by the William Joseph Seymour Foundation and Oxon Hill United Methodist Church. They were founded in 2018, and they continue to create voices, share voices that speak to issues of cultural relevance on a very broad scale. Now, let's go on to another member of the Right Blend. I'm going to share more about the group as we go, weaving group bio as well as member bios. Right now, we're going to hear about Cliff Bernier. Cliff, welcome to Sojourn with Words. Let me share a little bit about you with our viewers. Cliff, bringing a world of color, rhythm, and spirit to bear in his poetry. He is widely known for his musicality and harmonica-infused poetry. A leader of poetry readings and a contributor to a number of poetry journals, Cliff was recently showcased on the International Poetry Superhighway program. Cliff lives in Northern Virginia. Now, Cliff, we welcome you and are very happy to have you with us. What would you share with our viewers today, Cliff Bernier?
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I'll do a poem from the book called Sonny Terry. You played the Southern dance, church songs, medicine shows, tobacco sheds, camp town races to plow horses and farmhands, barnyard animals, fox hunts, trains roaring through Shelby, which you could not see. Blinded at 16, with Blind Boy Fuller, Blind Gary Davis, on the streets of Durham, with Brownie McGee, Leighton Hopkins, Leadbelly, Big Bill Brunsey, in field hollers, on Broadway, in Finian's Rainbow, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. On the big screen in the color purple, Crossroads, like a cackling hen, like a contented lover, like a rumble of wind in the trees, like a turtle dove, like a worried woman, at Carnegie Hall, in the Library of Congress, in India, Africa, London, New Zealand, and kept your peace at tent meetings, at swing concerts, in the Piedmont, in Greensboro, in spirituals, down by the riverside.
All right, Cliff Bernier. Thank you so much, Cliff. Let's get a little bit more information about this fantastic and most intriguing poetry ensemble. As I mentioned earlier, it was founded by Diane Wilbon Parks in July of 2018. And she invited each poet to become part of a circle of 6, because the poetry readings and events that Diane had been frequenting did not necessarily present a culturally diverse representation amongst its audiences or featured poets. Diane felt it was critical to recruit well-established, culturally diverse poets who could offer a broad landscape of poetry to all audiences. And truly, this region is the better for it. As a result, the poets have become the right blend of voices that deliver a unique signature in their body of work and their writing style. Their individual contributions as leaders in the poetry community, as well as their matchless voices. Now, how about our next member, Hiram Larew? Welcome, Hiram. Welcome, and let me share a little bit about you before we hear from you. One of your poems, Hiram, in 2017, organized the Poetry Poster Project. And I know anybody on Sojourn that watches Sojourn with Words for any length of time knows about the Poetry Poster Project, which showcases county poets and their work in locations throughout the county. More recently, he established the Poetry X Hunger Initiative and partnered with the United Nations to hold the first World Food Day Poetry Competition. Hiram lived in Prince George's County for many years, and I'll insert a point of personal privilege here to add that he contributed significantly to the poetry to the Prince George's arts community. Hiram is now a proud resident of Anne Arundel County, Maryland. Hiram, thank you for joining us and welcome to Sojourn with Words.
Well, thank you, Sister Joy. It's always a pleasure to see you and experience your spirit and to be with the Right Blend group. We simply want to point out today, too, that two of our wonderful members aren't able to be here live with us on this performance, Miss Kiane Thomas and Ms. Liz Reitzig. Diane has used her magic to create this group, and we're all very, very honored to be part of it. The piece I'm going to read today is from the section of the collection. The collection, as has been mentioned, is called The Right Blend. And this poem appears in the section of the collection called Blending Voices. The title of the poem is Evening. Gnats know how lovely you are. So do yucca spears here on the island that makes you, takes you towards whispering clouds, takes you into rose risks of sunshine and deep ferns peeled back that reveal the hiddens of you. No one else but you goldens the gnats or walks up the sand, shouldering this air like a country. Thank you, Sister Joy.
Thank you, Hiram Larew, vintage Hiram Larew. Hiram, thank you for the poetry that you continue to amaze us with. And let's see, you've already mentioned, you stole some of my thunder, Hiram. I was certainly going to introduce in absentia our members, Ms. Kiane and also Liz Reitzig, but thank you for mentioning their names. I would like at this time to introduce one member who is with us greatly celebrating poetry today, and that is Billye Okera. Welcome, Billye. We're very happy to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Billye Okera is a renowned poet of witness. She has blessed listeners at readings, churches, libraries, and many other venues with heartfelt renderings of her work. As an early pioneering member of the widely acclaimed Collective Voices poetry group, Billye lives in Prince George's County. I would like to add that Billye is an author of several books of poetry, and many years ago, she identified herself as a folk poet. I don't know that she still embraces that because I was never totally clear on what that really meant to her, but I just know her to be a poet of excellence, and we are honored to have her with us here today.
Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you.
Billye, what would you share with us today as a member of the Right Blend?
Well, I'm going to share a poem from our last chapter in the book called Blending Together, and it's very short. It's called The Du-Wop Boys. The Du-Wop boys sit on the stoop while booty-short girls speak of stone-cold souls they've sent to cisterns, hardly winking or thinking that years to come, they'll wear a lowered brow, beating their chest in sackcloth and ashes of regret. Yet, the boys will go on singing their ditties, sitting pretty on a southeast DC street, repeating the names of babies flushed and flayed when the Du-Wop boys played men. Thank you, Sister Joy.
Thank you, Billye Okera. Okay. I want to share a statement here. I see Diane Wilbon Parks offered this quote as a statement from the founder, and that simply reads, "In the wake of the current state of our nation, it is important to have a working model of excellence and inclusion of cultural diversity. We are proud to represent such a model in the poetry community. throughout the DMV and nationally. And that certainly is a statement that is so much on point with what is happening in the world today, and certainly in this country today. Even beyond that, I want to share another accolade, if I may. And this is 6 poets connected by words of fellowship came together to speak, write, and share their time and encouragements. The result is a powerfully intimate collection, The Right Blend, with poetry representing its poets with heart and beauty. Right here, from poetry's back pocket, come many diverse tones, sweeping ideas, and true talent, where 6 individuals write to close the divide between differences of race and gender. They tell of a world larger than they are, but one we understand better because of this book, The Right Blend. Light shines through celebrations and confrontations with these poems, clearly acts of devotion. That quote is from Maryland State Poet Laureate, Grace Cavalieri. You can't get a better resounding acknowledgement and word of praise from a more learned and highly regarded and respected literary figure, certainly within the state of Maryland, I dare say, anywhere. The Right Blend, congratulations, and thank you so much for all that you have already shared. I want to take a few moments to ask a few questions, and that offers the opportunity for The Right Blend to really answer why come together as a group when your voices were already so very powerful in their own right. Can I ask that first question of your founder, Diane Wilbon Parks? Talk about the individual voice that bridges through the group experience. Diane?
I am so amazed by each person in this group. And for the 2 poets, as Hiram and, as you mentioned, Sistah Joy, Miss Kiane, as well as Liz, all 6 of us in our own individual leadership, poetic style, even though it's different, it brings together a very unique sound to the group. Each person's voice is distinguishable, even their artistry. But when we come together, what it represents is we become better. We show others how this works, how well it works when you have all of these perspectives. But not only do we bring ourselves, we're bringing our legacies, our heritage. We're bringing all of those into the fold. And what we do is we have the ability to learn from one another and grow. I think this should be on every level, extended to many places, but to be able to do this at this level in a poetry group, I hope that this is a model for others. But this is a very unique group, and I think the fact that we are different, and though we may write differently, somehow that just blends into The Right Blend because we're so diverse and the range is so broad. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I would like to ask Cliff, what has being a part of this group, how has it affected your style?
Well, I've learned from every member of this group, and the musicality of Diane's work, the performance aspect of Miss Kiane's work, the cerebral voice of Hiram's work, and Billye's wonderful poetry of witness, Liz's personal travails, have all worked into my poetry in subconscious ways. And
Okay.
it's been a learning experience.
Okay. Well, certainly as a member of a collective for many years myself, I do understand the influences that filter into our own poetry. As a group, how does your writing blend? And I'll ask that question to Billye Okera, because she's had experience with group dynamics previously. So with regard to the right blend, how does this particular experience affect your writing?
We've done some experimental things, and that's how we've sort of developed our choral pieces. And it's amazing how we'll do individual things that then, bloom into these giant productions of a choral piece. And somehow, I mean, we might throw out a theme and then we'll all come together having written on that theme. And it's amazing, just from that seed of a theme, how
Right.
it blooms into a giant flower of poetry. And that's how I think we blend. We plant seeds in each other and then we grow into oak trees. And it's just a beautiful thing to watch grow.
Okay, fabulous. I do understand precisely what you're talking about. When we talk about the future for the right blend, Diane, I'll pivot back to you. When you look at the horizon to what's coming down the road for the right blend, what would you like to see? And maybe you can share something that is eminent.
Well, honestly, I like to see us as ambassadors to the world because we have so much culture, so much diversity here. Maybe we can show others how this works. I think you have to respect and value one another to be able to have a group. It's 6 members, and sometimes the timing is not always there, but to be able to respect each one's craft and their artistry, I think we have to begin there. So I would like to see us on stages. I like to see us everywhere, really, because we are a representation of what the world should be. How we become better, just respecting one another's distinct and the differences, we celebrate them.
Okay. And I'll close out with Hiram Larew. Hiram, you're such a man of the world with regard to your views on the literary experience. What has being a part of this group, how has it affected your style, or has it?
Sister Joy, thanks so much. The way I think Diane shaped this group has moved us and allowed all of us to see that where so many groups like we enjoy in the DC area are poets are monochromatic, this group is prismatic. It allows all of the colors of our voices, our experiences, of our cultural backgrounds to be celebrated. And that's what I think is so powerful about what Diane has created in this group. And yes, it's affecting my own work, absolutely.
Okay, thank you so very much, The Right Blend, for sharing your experience as poets, as members of The Right Blend. I want to make sure that everybody knows to be in touch with The Right Blend at The Right Blend Poetry @gmail.com. And that right is WRITE, The Right Blend Poetry @gmail.com. Thank you so much. And hey, let's close out with a group poem by The Right Blend as they let us see the majesty of their ensemble. Welcome, The Right Blend.
Weave these words around these notes.
Take the weight of fears, roll them into nevers, into past gones, and keep the light that awakens gratitude.
Weave these words around these notes. Which came first?
In the beginning, I wasn't exhausted all the time. There was that edge of adventure, that thrill that comes with newness, with small risks.
Leafing through ancient pictures, stained with age, wrinkle and bend.
If vines climb up, entwined and skyward, all on the sly,
deepening my breath, I gracefully fall backward to my beginning.
Which came first, the meaning or the sound? The call for help or the howl in the woods? The grunt of love or the confession?
Whose are these here, frozen on Polaroid and Kodak, inscriptions on the back, rare?
if frost is what the sun simply won't do, then tell me who begins the begin? What triggers all of these clear drops to glow?
The brilliant light of the night orchestrated the tide that brings me home. The road map on my whip back led me back.
From the year of blurred vision, frame a staircase with a dream, touch it like the body of an orange, take its skin, peel it back, taste its flesh.
Weave these words around these notes. Which came first?
In the beginning, there was room for happiness. My face had space to smile until worry crowded it out, slinking past my eyebrows and nestling in that spot between. In the beginning, my heart grew 1,000 times over, flipping, slipping, jumping with new discovery.
We skipped across the beach, baptizing our laughter in the ocean.
Where does wind worship? And who, oh, who will start the stories that end up with way on one side and curds on the
For
other?
little care was given to the universe in motion, tossing us all, taunting us all, talling us to tall above inevitables.
Let the birds and butterflies lift and perch inside you. Let your light and smile shine through anxious beginnings.
Float from the white man's feet.
The grunt of love or the confession?
Divide skies in two on their own.
Closing my eyes, I think
of things that never come again.
In the beginning, there was fiery breath, as hope somersaulted through the crevices of gravity, alighting in the soul.
While perusing the precipice of endings
that pulls the incipient day into shine, into wait for the beginning of new beginnings.
Weave these words around these notes.
Thank you all for what you have brought to the literary community and to Prince Georgians as a whole, and through the world of virtual experience. Poetry lovers everywhere can now enjoy The Right Blend. We are very honored to have you. Your poetry speaks volumes. Individually, you have spoken for years, and now this coming together, this coalescing of poetic experience, truly the poetry world is the better for it. Congratulations in advance on all your future successes. The Right Blend, thank you for being a guest on Sojourn with Words. I'm Sistah Joy, presenting the best of poetry everywhere, right here on CTV. Thank you so much, and welcome all who viewed us. Be in touch.